Okay.
So many questions. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any questions on the website? Any administrative things? Any enrollment issues? Sections are meeting this week, so you'll get your TAs this week, on Thursday and Friday. Everyone's okay in terms of enrollment? No enrollment issues? If you have any, just let me know. So we're going to try this thing where at the end of class, I leave as quickly as possible so the next class can get set up. So I'll be out there in the front for a while. Okay? But not in the front later. So I'll be there. So if you have any questions, just let me know. So everyone's okay in terms of enrollment, results. Okay, there were some announcements about people wanting to switch sections, so if you have any interest, just go to the this announcements, this discussion forum thing. Okay. And also I put my office hours up here. It's just Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 3, so basically after this class. Okay. And if you can't make those times, you can email me, because I'm on campus basically for all Monday to Friday. I'll be there. Okay. So those are not good. Any questions? No administrative questions? All right. Okay, so let's get started again. Again, I will emphasize, if you're not used to the quarter system, that's usually the biggest thing people have to get used to when they're coming from other places. So 10 weeks is short. So again, if there's something which you feel like you're missing out on or you want to get caught up on, just try to do so quickly. Just ask for help quickly. Okay. So in the last class, we showed out a little video. We talked about what's in common among all these different examples. Naomi Campbell. What's a good thing? Wind tunnel, SINs, World Trade Center design. Okay, so these are all examples of what? Models, right? That was our idea. So what's a model good for? Why do we have models? We talked about this. What does Naomi Campbell do? She displays, I guess I gotta be close to the thing. One thing a model does is display things to show. And what's the point of doing the wind tunnel testing thing? Yeah, to design or to test something, right? Let me see if I have another thing. This is like teaching in the modern era. You have to do all these little cats. Okay. Oh, good. What is the thing with the SINs? What is the SINs doing? Just entertainment purposes. You can kind of do what-if experiments. Okay. What about the World Trade Center thing? What do I do to the computer as opposed to building it? Yeah, it's low cost, easy. Okay. What about the World Trade test dummy thing? What do I use a test dummy as opposed to a real human being? Okay, it's going to be low cost, it's easy. Okay. And also the point is to sort of simplify, and you can deal with some difficult situations. Sometimes we want to model things like genocide or civil war. It's a lot easier to model than to actually see them on tape. What about the Bush-Mazars thing? He has a model, an analogy of how this war is going to be. Obviously, war is a very complicated thing. And he said in his little statement that it's up to Saddam. What's the point of that? Yeah, to argue, to make a persuasion, to persuade. And then finally, for the protesters, what is the idea there? Similar, right? Yeah? You're basically analogizing. The model is kind of an analogy. And kind of like what we said, there's lots of reasons why you want to use models. and a model's not reality. It doesn't try to capture all detail. Just like the fact that a crash test dummy doesn't have a hair and a name and a personality, we purposely want to take that away from the crash test dummy. We don't want to worry about the crash test dummy's eyes, the color of their eyes, their shoe size too much. The whole point is we want to simplify, so we want to get at what's the really important thing, like i.e. how their body reacts to airbags and in crashes, things like that. Okay. So we want to be simple, but not too simple. Okay. So game theory is about modeling in social science. There are lots of kinds of models of social science. Game theory is one of the simplest. And this class is about how to model. It's not mainly about facts. Okay. So we shouldn't get a model of the real world confused. That's the fun back clip. Yeah, I love that. He's like my age, I thought. Why do people do what you do? Okay, so we started to talk about this at the end of the last class. If you're a social scientist, that's what you're interested in. You're interested in explaining human behavior. Why do people do what they do? Okay, it's kind of interesting. If you're a game theorist, the way you answer this question is in terms of choice. Again, this is not the only way you can explain human behavior, but it's an important one. Okay, again, a lot of things, when I think about why I do certain things, it's because I chose to do them. Game theory emphasizes choice. Okay, we'll explain things in terms of choice. People do what they do because they choose to do so. Okay, again, it's not always true. Like I don't choose to get the flu if I sit next to somebody on the subway with the flu. Okay, but it is true in these situations. How do we model a person's choice? So this is how we ended the last class. Okay, so again, think about it simply. Okay, if I'm going to model a choice, what's the first step? Okay, again, super simple. Talked about this a little last time. So obviously, like for example, I'm deciding where to go to college. Okay, I'm talking to lots of people, talking to my counselor, to my parents, to my uncles, my friends, my people who go to that college. Okay, so what's going on? But what?
How can I set up alternative?
Yeah. So we have to write down a set of alternatives. But even before that, we're going to simplify to just say it's about one person. Because even so, obviously your choice is actually affected by lots of people. But we're going to say it's just really maybe about you. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is your set of alternatives. So the absolute simplest will be something like yes or no. Am I going to eat this marshmallow or not? Okay. Am I going to get up at 8:30 to go running, or maybe I'll just stay home and watch Netflix or something. Okay, so the next step is to choose your set of alternatives. Okay, so this is very, very basic stuff. I think anybody would say if you want to understand someone's choice, you first have to say there's a person involved, and second, what are the things they're choosing among? Okay, it seems pretty basic. If I were to say to them, I'm trying to explain why people are showing up to this class today. Well, at first, say, great, everyone's a person, and make a choice. The second thing is everyone could have chosen to come to this class or another class, or stay at home. Those are the alternatives. But if I were to explain why people are here, what would the next thing I would say is? Why are you here again?
Consequences?
Well, consequences, right. We came here and we had this consequence of this nice class. But if you did something else, that would also have consequences, right? If you took a physics class or if you stayed home and ate breakfast or something. Why are you here as opposed to this other consequences? Yeah, it's kind of like because presumably you prefer boundary, right? It has to do with your preferences, right? Your chaos. Yeah. So that's the next step. We have to somehow model what people want. Okay? The idea is when you choose something, we're thinking about what people want. Okay? And we'll model that in terms of like chaos. Okay? Or preferences. So the way we think about it is each alternative, and this is again a simplification and a modeling choice. Okay? This is not, we're not saying this is what people actually do. There's some seats up here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each alternative and attach to it a number. Okay? And that will be a so-called payoff or utility. So this is our first step into something which seems a little weird, but we'll get used to it. Again, remember it's a model interest. It's a purposeful simplification. There's lots of spaces. There's lots of spaces. Okay, there's two places. All right. What's the prediction? Okay. The prediction is, so for example, I guess, if I chose to whether to come here to a physics class or a breakfast, I put numbers in those choices. And the prediction is you choose the alternative with the highest payoff. The idea is that your payoff represents how much you like something. So therefore, you'll choose the alternative which has the highest payoff, which you like the most. Okay, that's the idea. So this is our model. Okay, it's super, super simple. Again, it has one person. You have to write down your alternatives. And this third thing is a little artificial, but you have to say something, right? Clearly, people's choices have to do with what they want, right? So we have to represent their preferences. Okay? The simplest way to represent that is to just literally put numbers on them. Okay? Makes sense? Okay. All right. Oh, so I guess I didn't explain that. So you choose the one with the highest payoff. What if there's a tie for first place? Like the payoff from coming to this class is 10, and the payoff from going to the physics class is 10. What's the case then? Well, what if the physics payoff from here is 10, payoff from physics class is 10, payoff from going to breakfast is 6. Well, which one would you do? Either there's a tie, right? Either this or physics class is going to breakfast. Okay? Okay, so the idea is there might be a tie, but if there's a tie, you would choose the one which tied first place. Okay? Any questions? Okay. All right. So for example, let's say I choose among apple, blueberry, and cherry pie. You know, I go to a diner. There's lots of pies in front of me. Is there a pie place around here? I don't think there's one in Western. Is there? Has anybody gone to Pie Hole downtown? You know what I'm talking about? Does no one knows what I'm talking about here? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's excellent. Okay. I recommend it. There's one also on Sunset Boulevard here at Penn. Okay, so say I'm choosing among apple, blueberry, and cherry pie. You go to your favorite pie place. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is my model, okay? So it's pretty simple. I'm one person. I write down my alternatives, apple, blueberry, or cherry, and I just throw these numbers on there. Okay, apple gives me payoff 5, blueberry gives me payoff 8, cherry gives me payoff 2. Okay. And with these preferences, what's the prediction? I'll choose blueberry, right? Because that's okay. These numbers, we're not saying they actually exist in your mind. Like I'm saying, okay, yeah, blueberry has 8, so I say. Rather, these are representing my preferences. Yeah. Okay. Just in the same way, like those little squiggles on a chalkboard represent a football play, or like little bits of cardboard represent the building. So if this is my model, these are my preferences, I will choose blueberry. This blueberry has the highest payoff. I choose blueberry. Any questions about that? Pretty simple. All right. How about this? This is now slightly maybe relevant. I can choose whether to revolt against the regime or stay at home. Okay? So, like, this might happen. You might have to make a choice. And people have made this choice all over the world. There's a regime they don't like. They have to think about whether to revolt against it. Okay, so what's the first step? Is the person. So who's the person here? Like you, yeah. What are the choices? Revolt or stay home, right? Okay. Right. So then, what about the payoffs? Well, it sort of depends, right? Obviously, right? Huh? Yeah, it depends on the person. What would it depend on?
Conditions.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, sure. Exactly right, but there's definitely benefits and costs, for example, right? A real cost might be like get shot at or something, or in prison somewhere, right? So there are real costs for sure. Okay, so let's put it this way. So I'm going to say revolt or stay at home. Those are my two choices. I'm going to say revolting gives me a payoff, sort of a positive payoff of 5, but there's a real cost C. Yeah? Okay, and staying at home is kind of a wash. That's at 0. Okay. So this is my model. What's the prediction? So good.
Oh, well, if the cost is less than 5, then they would choose to.
Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so staying at home for sure is 0, right? No problem. But revolting, it depends on what? C, right? Obviously, right? As it is, I'm not going to go with a prediction, right? If C is 1, what am I going to do? Revolt, right? If my cost is 1. What if my cost is 0? Because I know like the chief police is my friend, so I'm not going to get that. Okay, so if that's the case, I'll definitely revolt. Okay. What if C is 4.1? Still revolt. It's costly, but I still want to do it. What if C is 5.2? Yeah, I'm going to say one. What if C is 10? For sure, I'll say one. Yeah. So this will make sense, right? This simply says that the lower the cost, the more likely you are to revolt. That seems obvious. Yes. Then this is how it's a model. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so you might say that there should be a cost of here too, like maybe like maybe that should also my cost if I feel guilty or something like that, right? Or
Because the situation would last.
oh yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, so I have to live the regime a little longer or something like that. Oh, yeah, okay. We could also put that in there too. But as it is now, so your model might be different from mine, but in this super simple model, C is the cost of revolt, and our conclusion is C is low, right? If C is less than 5, I will revolt. If C is high, I won't. Okay. So if I make it costly for people to revolt, like getting lots of extra police out there or whatever, people are not going to revolt in this model. Okay. Does that make sense? Sort of, yeah.
What if C is equal to 5?
Oh, that's a good question. What if C is equal to 5? Then it's like a tie. So in that case, either staying home or revolting would be considered understandable, right? That would be either grid shouldn't be equal. You'd be exactly tied for first place. Other questions? Yeah.
So the numbers, right?
Uh-huh.
Is this only dependent on the person, not on exterior factors?
Okay, so yeah, so when I'm writing on the model, that's a choice I have to make. So like, except I'm trying to explain somebody's behavior. So like, just like we said, somebody might not have that 0 for the stay at home. They might have like something else, right? Or another person might say they might really want to change the regime. Their 5 might be 15 instead of something. So when I'm writing down a model, I have to do as good a job as I can to describe reality well.
But does, like the cost,
Yeah.
right? What if personally the cost is 0, like you'd rather revolt,
Right.
but for the city it costs more because you need like people and stuff to like fix it.
Right.
So would the cost only be dependent on the person who's making this choice, or
Right.
also on exterior factors?
Okay, so remember, so we're trying to super simplify. The very first simplifying step we did is say it's about one person. So already we're throwing away lots of stuff. Okay, so you're right. So you might think, well, what about the cost of other people and stuff? So even just from the very get-go, we're throwing away stuff. Okay, and every time we throw away stuff, we're saying it's simpler, but we also have the danger of simplifying way too much. Like we're basically simplifying more than we need to in some sense. So those things will have to be. So in some sense, what game theory does is it starts super simple and tries to build on it. So we will just start with that. Okay, anyway. This is my thing. Again, the simplest conclusion we have is cost is low, you will revolt, the cost is high, you won't. That's all I'm saying. This is a little picture of me. This is a picture of me in Korea in 1987, something like that. Okay, and guess what that bus is? This is a fun little picture. Well, notice how is this bus different from most buses? Huh? It's not a North Korean bus. I'm sorry. This isn't Seoul. I'm sorry. It's not a North Korean bus. This isn't Seoul.
Is it an inmate transfer bus?
It looks a little different from most buses because it has cages on the outside. So it makes you think, hey, is it an inmate like transfer bus? Because that's a good guess, for sure. It's a good guess. But it's not an inmate transfer bus.
Prison bus.
Huh? It's not a prison bus, although it's related a little bit. So who are those two people? They're police officers. They're riot police. Okay. So this is the bus in which riot police are transported in. So back in the day when Korea was very autocratic, there was a dictator. They would have like literally 100,000 riot police in Seoul, and they would go around buses like this, and they would have armored things on the outside so protesters can smash the windows from the outside. Yeah. So that's me. Taking a picture of them. Getting badly shoes and stuff. What's funny is that all the riot police were like 20-year-old kids, or like 20-year-old young people. And they were like people in college, and then there was the protesting, and then they would be put, enforced. They were conscripted into the riot police, and they had to be riot police refused, and then they went back and protesters again. Anyway. Okay, so now. How about this? No, this is kind of like what we're talking about. Say I got really sick and tired of the regime. Okay, so I changed that 0, which used to be 0 now, but the gold part means it's changed. I made that 0 minus 10. This means before I got a 0 from staying home, but now when I stay home, I think, oh my God, I just can't stand this anymore. It's actually costly for me to stay home. Okay? Before it was a 0, now it's a minus 10. Now how does the conclusion change? before, when this cost, the stay-at-home payoff is 0, when C is 10, did I revolt? Okay. Before.
Oh, no.
Okay. When C is 10, did I revolt? No, right? Okay. But now when C is 10, do I revolt? Yes. Okay. C is 10, I get revolt minus 5. That's still better than minus 10 staying home because I'm so sick and tired of staying home. See what I'm saying? Okay, what's the conclusion here? Right? If your payoff from staying at home goes lower, then even if now its cost is pretty high, you'll still revolt. It's kind of like revolt is more likely if costs are low, and it's less likely if costs are high. But if people are really, really sick and tired of this, the cost of not doing anything is also high, they're still going to revolt. Does that make sense? Okay. And this is coming out of the math, right? You see that? Yeah. So this is kind of non-trivial, right? It's kind of interesting, yeah? It's kind of like saying, well, people are more likely to revolt if cost is low, but if they really, really get sick and tired, they will revolt even if cost is high. Yeah? And this comes out of the model. Okay. So it's sort of non-trivial. Okay. Not too bad. Okay. How about this? The simple model, okay, so sometimes when I put numbers on things, people are thinking, is that a dollar amount? Is that like a cash thing? Is that like, points in life? Like people talk about leveling up in life. Okay. Is it like a big video game or something? Well, the answer is this. The simple model, so we're often thinking, put numbers in things, does that mean you care only about cash? And the answer is this, no. Okay? The simple model does not assume that people are materialistic or care only about cash. Okay? So for example, let this example. Say it's a Valentine's present from your boo. Okay, so I do a lot of Urban Dictionary in this class to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. So. Okay. Say that you can choose between a book, a nice dinner, or a matching engraved commitment rings. So maybe the payoff on the book is what? I don't know. Say for nice dinner. I think probably better than the book, yeah. The book is nice, but dinner looks better. But maybe you're not ready for the whole matching engraved commitment ring thing. So anyway, yeah. So the payoff can depend on social factors, right? It's not just literally the price of the object or something. Yeah, it can depend on the whole sort of social situation. All right, how about this? How many children will a person have? So this is a choice you'll have to make in your life, probably. I think I've made my choice. Okay. How do I model this? Okay, so if I use my model, the simplest model, what do I start with? First person. Already, that's kind of a complication, right? Presumably, maybe you'll make your decision about how many kids to have with another person. Right? But we're already saying it's up to you, just one person. Yeah. Okay, what's the next step? Alternatives. What are the alternatives? 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. But anyway, some number, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's write those down. Maybe. So there's 0 kids, 1 kid, 2 kids, etc. Okay. What's the third step? Payouts, right? So I'm going to put some payouts in there, like maybe -5 for 0 kids, 7, etc. If my payouts are this, what's the prediction? Somebody had payouts like this. So 2 kids, for example. So this person likes to have. Whoops, sorry. This person likes to have kids, and 2 kids is optimal, but they're really into basketball, so they might. Anyway, does this make sense? Like, will you make your just choice of how many kids to have in this way? Probably not, right? It's kind of, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but who comes up with all these numbers? Like, how do you
Yes. Okay, so again, it's not objective. Okay, it's not like I can read the book somewhere and says this is exactly how a person makes a choice. Well, rather, what we're trying to do is explain how people make a decision. So when I'm trying to explain it, I'm going to have to assume a bunch of stuff and kind of commit to like, I think that this person is described this way. Okay? So for example, if I were to fill this out, maybe I would fill out something different. If you were to fill it out, it would be different from different too.
So you're just using the numbers to represent how you weigh your.
Exactly, right. And so these numbers represent a person's preferences. It's just a representation. And your preferences obviously might differ from someone else's, and they're all different. So that's kind of cool. So another way to think about it is, let's say I'm trying to explain like how my sister's going to make this decision. I'm going to write down some numbers, and I'll make you wrong. Okay? If I want to, that would be a bad model. That would be a bad description of that decision. I guess another way to say it is we're not trying to tell people how to make it. Rather, we're trying to explain it. Okay. If you have these payoffs, you'll have 2 kids. Do people really act this way? Probably not, right? When I decided to have 2 kids, I didn't think, oh, my payoff is higher from having 2 kids. Okay, but at the same time, there is something to it. Like, I wouldn't have 20 kids because that would be super costly. But there is some issue there, right? So it's kind of a mix of lots of different things. Okay, anyway, people do not act this way, but if we assume the simple model, we assume that they do. So again, this is a simplification. Again, like a bunch of cardboard and stuff put together is not the same thing as a building. This description is not the same thing as the way a person actually makes a choice, but it is a simplified description. What exactly are we assuming when we assume the simple model? What is going on here when we assume this? Again, it's super simple, almost the simplest way you can think about a person's choice. What are we assuming? Okay. We can answer this question by seeing how the simple model might be violated. So, how might this model be violated? So, for example, say I'm going back to my kids example. Say I choose 0 kids. Say I'm not really into changing diapers and I don't like PTA moms and that kind of thing. I choose 0 kids. Okay? Alright. PTA dads also, 30 years. I was a PTA dad. Okay. You choose 0 kids. Okay, so say that now you decide I'm going to live a carefree, kid-free life. I'm going to get some dogs. Okay. Then you go to your doctor for a routine checkup, and your doctor says, hey, by the way, I'm just letting you know. You can have at most 1 kid. Okay? You can have 0 or 1. You can have 2, but you can have at most 1 kid. Okay? Your doctor says that. And then I think, oh my gosh, I can have at most 1 kid. Maybe I should have a kid. Yeah, and I choose 1. Okay? Could you see yourself doing this? Maybe, yeah. Okay, however, is this behavior consistent with a simple model? No, why not? Well, okay, yeah. Because the doctor is saying? Yeah, okay. But even from the point of view, even if we focus on just you, begin with this. Huh?
There are transitions.
What?
Like there are transitions rather than like just simple choices.
Yeah, okay. That's true. The alternatives are changing, but yeah, exactly.
There's no really a way to put in that interruption into a simple model because it's not simple.
Yes, all these things are true. But even if I buy into the simple model completely, okay, what am I saying is this? Okay, so think about it this way. Okay. Up here, I could choose between 0, 1 kids, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, and 5 kids. Yes? Yeah, go ahead.
And then you can choose between 0 and 1, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So in this case, I choose between 0 and 5. Now I choose between 0 and 1. Right, exactly. So what changed is the set of things I could choose among changed. Yeah? I think, did I? Oops. Okay, so I started from 0 to 5, and now my doctor says you actually can only choose between 0 and 1. Okay? Yes?
I guess just when you can do whatever as you want, it would not be attractive for you. The option was not attractive.
Right.
Also, when you heard that it is barely available for you,
Right.
the line is changed.
Yes.
That's what,
Yeah. So that can happen. The question is whether it's compatible with our model. Why not?
Because logically speaking, it violates the model because the payoff of having 0 kids for you was originally higher than 1 kid.
Right, exactly. Because that's what I'm trying to get, exactly. The idea is this. If I choose 0 kids over all these things, and we believe in a simple model, that must mean the payoff from 0 kids must have been higher than the payoff from all these things. Right? I must have, like when I write down those numbers, the payoff from 0 must have been like 10, and these are like 6 or 4 or something. Okay. Now when my doctor says I can only choose among these 2, if I choose 1 kid, it must mean that the payoff from 1 kid must have been higher than the payoff from 0 gives. See what I'm saying? The fact that I chose 0 over 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 means the payoff from 0 must be higher than the rest payoffs from the other ones. But if I chose 1 kid over 0, it must mean that the payoff from 1 must be higher than the payoff from 0. That can't happen, okay? Unless there's a tie. Yeah? But assuming there's no ties. Assuming that my payoffs themselves do not change, assuming that there's no ties, yeah, that cannot happen. See what I'm saying? Okay. So that's kind of a violation. That's kind of behavior which is reasonable and could happen, but we're assuming that away when we do the simple model. Make sense? Maybe do some more examples. How about this? Flat screen TV versus t-shirt. Okay, so say you're in the store, there's a 60-inch TV is on sale for $6.99. You can walk 2 blocks and get the same TV at another store for $6.89. You don't have to carry the TV or they deliver to your house either way. Okay. How do I model this? You're one person, right? What are the choices? $6.99, right? So you can either buy $6.99 or walk and get $6.89. Yeah? Okay, so where do you buy the TV? So your choices are either stay, do nothing, buy it at the place you're at now, or walk and save $10. Make sense? Okay. How many people would stay and not walk? How many people would walk and save the $10? Wow, you guys are very press conscious. Okay. All right, so how many people would take out their phone and check the price on Amazon? Exactly, that's it. Okay, now the flat screen versus t-shirt. Say you're in a store and there's a UCLA t-shirt on sale for $17. The yellow part is the part of your t-shirt. You can walk 2 blocks and get the same t-shirt at another store for $7. Okay. So what are your choices? 17 or 7, right? You can just stay, or you buy a t-shirt, you can just stay or walk and save $10, yes? Okay, how many people would stay? How many people would walk and save $10? Yeah? Okay. All right. So say you made these choices. Okay, so where you bought the TV, say that you do the blue choices. That is, for the TV, you said, $10 is nothing, it's $6.99, it's just like 1% or something. I'll just buy by here and here, and it'll be nice to me, whatever. You know. But for t-shirts, $10 is 17, that's like a lot, right? Okay, so I'm going to walk. Okay. So I think most people chose to walk in both cases, yeah? But if you were the person who chose to stay for the TV, but not stay for the t-shirt, okay, are you behaving according to the simple model? No. Okay, so I'm not saying it's irrational or something. It's totally reasonable. I can see myself exactly doing that. Yeah? But in one case, you stayed. Staying was worth it. Whoops. Staying was worth it to you over walk and saving $10. Another case, you'd rather walk and save $10 over staying. So it's that kind of inconsistency. Why is it violate simple model? I think it's because in this case, the payoff on staying must have been higher than the payoff on here. Yeah. But now you're saying the payoff on here must be higher than the payoff on here. And assuming no ties, that's a violation. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? Yes.
So would you say that the off is all based on the personal preferences?
Yeah. Okay, so one way you can get around this is to say that actually my payoffs are different. Like in here, my payoffs are actually changed between these situations. Okay? In that case, then you would have no contradiction. Okay? But if I'm assuming essentially that the payoff from staying and walking saving $10 is the same in both cases, the only thing that's different is, are you saving $10 off a TV versus a t-shirt, right? So what we're saying is that what you're saving $10 off shouldn't matter. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah? Here's another example. We're going to kind of ratchet up a bit. So you bought a concert ticket for $50. You have a ticket and an extra $50 in your wallet. Okay. Question? Good. All right. So you have a ticket, $50. At the box office, $50 and an equally good ticket are freely exchangeable. So you can, sell your ticket for $50, buy another ticket that's exactly equivalent. As you enter the auditorium, you realize you've lost your ticket. Open up your purse, your wallet, your ticket. Look up. So your ticket disappears. You buy a new ticket. How many people would buy a new ticket? Okay. Huh? Sneaking. How many people would not buy a new ticket? Okay. All right. Okay. Now look at this example. Again, you're at a concert. You have $50 in ticket in your wallet. Okay. As you walk in, again, the $50 a ticket if you're exchangeable. As you walk in, you realize you've lost $50. Your $50 bill is just there, disappeared. Ooh, it disappears. I'm proud of that effect. This is what they teach you in professor school. Okay. Do you refund your ticket and go home?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you walk in there, you're ready to concert, and you go, oh no, the $50 on the way. How many people would go home? Some people do. You commit to it, you said. Huh?
I drove to the concert and I was
Yeah, exactly. You're thinking, geez, $50, who cares? I'm just going to go, right? You know what I'm saying? How many people would go? Okay, all right. Okay. All right, but you see kind of the point here?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, in the first case, you lost your ticket. Okay. In the second scenario, you lost $50. But in both cases, you're choosing this case. In the first case, you bought a new ticket, and what would end up happening is you would see the concert end up with $0 in your wallet, right? If you bought a new ticket, right? You lost your ticket, and you use the $50 in your wallet to buy a new ticket. So you end up seeing the concert and you're left with no money. Yeah? Okay. If you didn't buy it, you wouldn't see the concert, but you would still have $50 in your wallet. Yes? That's a scenario where you lost the ticket. Second scenario where you lost $50. If you don't refund your ticket, you see the concert and you have $0 in your wallet, right? And you saw the concert and you had the $50 in your wallet's gone because you won't pay. If you refunded the ticket, you wouldn't see the concert and you would get $50 back if you refunded. Make sense? Okay. If I made these choices, that is, whoops, sorry. If when you lost a ticket, you didn't buy a new one, okay, but when you lost the $50, you didn't refund it. Okay, this is, how many people did this pattern? I think most people did this pattern, right? Most people are not going to say, oh, I'm going to lose $50, and I'm not going to, soon we'll just go and watch it, I'm not going to refund the ticket. But a lot of people were not going to buy a second ticket. Yeah? This is a very typical thing. If you behave this way, it's perfectly reasonable, but are you behaving according to the model? No. Okay. Why? Because in this case, seeing the concert, in this case, the $50 is more important than seeing the concert. In this case, seeing the concert was more important than $50. See what I'm saying? There's an inconsistency. Another way to think about this, remember that's why I said that the $50 and the ticket are freely exchangeable. Losing the $50 and losing the ticket are exactly the same thing. Yeah? They're literally exactly the same thing because they're exchangeable, right? So whether you lose the ticket or $50 shouldn't affect at all whether you choose to see the concert.
Didn't you argue that the cost difference of both of those, you have to wait in line at the box office or something?
Yeah, so I guess if you had to wait in line in 20 minutes to get the box office, that would not be freely exchangeable. There would be also the cost of keeping in line. Yeah, but so that's why I put that in. So if you were to do that, like if you did the line thing, then it would actually change the things. Okay. Anyway, is the point clear? Okay. The point is that sometimes people call this the contextual framing effect. Somehow losing $50 and losing a ticket is a little different. Okay? Even though in terms of the actual consequences, it's exactly the same. Oh, how about this? What if I chose to buy a new ticket and, okay, what if I chose this, that is, if I lost my ticket, I would buy a new ticket, but also not refund? Would that violate the model? No, right, because that would mean I'm consistent. In both cases, I really want to see the show. What if, in this case, I didn't buy a new ticket, but also refunded. It will also be consistent. That means I care more about the money than the show sometimes. This violates the simple. However, this is an example which actually occurred to me in real life. Okay, I changed it a little bit, but the details are the same. Okay, so say your grandma gave you $100 for your birthday. You buy a ticket to see Adele at Ticketmaster for $50. So like, you have like four computers and 8 browsers open. Like this. Okay. All right. The day before the concert, you just happen to go on StubHub and see you can sell for $250. Okay, this actually happened to me. A $50 ticket goes on StubHub the day before the concert, $250. Do you sell your ticket?
Yeah.
How many people would sell a ticket? How many people would still go see it though? Yeah. Okay. This is a new scenario. So your grandma gave you $100. You try to buy a ticket to Adele in your 8 browsers and 4 computers, but it doesn't work. So your uncle feels sorry for you, so gives you an additional $200 for your birthday. Okay. Now the day before the concert, you go on StubHub and see you can buy an Adele ticket for $250. Okay. You buy the ticket? How many people would buy the ticket? Okay. Yeah, exactly, right. Because you really like Adele, so okay. You buy a ticket and stuff. So most people would not buy a ticket, yeah? Okay, so this is the kind of the thing, right? So the first scenario, say you managed to buy it on Ticketmaster. If I didn't sell, I would see Adele, and I had $50 in my wallet, right? Because I had $100. I bought the ticket for $50. I saw Adele, and I said $50 up. If I sell on StubHub, I bought the ticket for $50, but I sold it for $250, so I got $200 back, so I had $300 altogether. Is that right? No, but yeah. I had $100 for my grandma. I bought $50 for StubHub, so I had $30 left, but I got sold for $250. Yeah, so $300. Yes. Okay. That's the first scenario. If I didn't sell, I would see Adele, $50 wallet, sell StubHub, no Adele with $300 in wallet. Second scenario, Ticketmaster failure. Remember, this is when my uncle gave me $200. If I bought on StubHub, I would have the $300 minus $250. I would see Adele and I get $50 in my wallet. If I didn't buy, I would see no Adele. If you did this thing, that is, you did sell. Oops, jeez. You did sell with a Ticketmaster success. Okay. But at the same time, you didn't buy. And the second scenario, that is, you didn't buy Adele for $250. This is the common thing. This is my reaction to it. Would you be behaving according to the simple model? No, right? In this case, seeing Adele was worth more than $250 for you. In this case, $250 was worth more than seeing Adele. Okay. So this is kind of inconsistent. Okay, but it's a very human thing. Why is it? Because, so when I literally did this myself. I got the 4 tickets to Adele, and I went and stuff with it. I thought, I could make $1,200 right now. But what going through my head was, well, what I actually paid is $50, so it's not like I'm paying $250 for this ticket. But actually, I was. You see what I'm saying, right? I could have gotten, $200 for each ticket, but I chose not to do that. So that's the same thing as buying it for $200. It really is the same thing. It's just the way you think about it. Same thing. Okay. So if you behave like this, and I was exactly like this, okay, then this would be a violation of simple model. Okay. So for example, if your internal rules are never buy a ticket more than $250, that's your rule, then you should also sell anything which you can sell stuff for $250. All right, so these are the kind of things which are human behavior, and you could spend your whole life thinking about this stuff. Sometimes people call this framing, or contextual effects. Okay, but this is the kind of thing we're throwing away in some sense. We leave this behind when we're doing simple model. We're leaving it behind because of simplicity. How about this? What university should I attend? Okay. Say you choose between UCLA and Yale. Where would you go to? The choice is obvious. Yeah, UCLA. You want to get a real education. Okay. But then, so, Then you get acceptances from 3 more schools. You get these emails coming in. You actually get accepted at UCLA, Yale, Stanford, UCSD, and Pomona. And you're thinking, gee, I've lived in California all my life. Maybe I should go. I got admitted to all these California schools. Maybe the world is telling me I should go to Yale because it's the only non-California school. Okay? So you choose that. If this is the case, are you behaving according to the simple model? No, right? Because in this case, the payoff from UCLA must be higher than the payoff from Yale, right? In this case, if I chose Yale or UCLA, the payoff from Yale must be higher than the payoff from UCLA. Right? So this is kind of, I can see myself making this decision, but this decision is not consistent at all. So your behavior violates the simple model, assuming no bias.
It would not violate the simple model if they chose one of the other schools.
Correct, exactly
Because
right.
then they could have.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly. So say that I chose UCLA here, but I chose UCSD here. Would that violate the model? No, right? Because it could be that UCLA could have 9, Yale could be 7, but UCSD could be 12. Yeah, exactly. So for example, 7 and 3. Yeah. These are my payoffs. If I chose UCLA there, it must be the case that this payoff must be higher than this. Then I can choose Yale at least. How about this? UCLA, Yale, you choose UCLA, then you get accepted to 3 more schools. I guess this is what we just did. Say you choose UCSD. Okay, does this violate the model? No, right? Because it's possible you really like UCSD. This doesn't violate. Okay, because it could be that you pay off from UCSD. How about this? UCLA and Yale, you choose Yale. Now you get acceptance from 3 more schools. You choose Yale. Does this violate the simple model? No, it doesn't. Yes, because it could be possible you just like Yale. Okay, maybe you can. Make sense? Okay, so this simple model seems almost trivial, but you can violate it. It does have kind of 5 incentives. Anyway, when we assume a simple model, we assume away so-called framing or contextual effects. In other words, somehow losing a ticket is different from losing $50, or buying a ticket and not selling it in StubHub for $200 more somehow seems different than spending $200 on a ticket, even though it ends up being exactly the same. So these are kind of framing and contextual effects. We're assuming those things away. So again, if you take a psychology class, or there's people who actually do research on exactly this kind of thing, spend your whole life thinking about this stuff. This is the kind of thing to study, but for the sake of simplicity, we're going to kind of step away from it. We're going to simpler, kind of cruder directions. We also assume away involuntary behavior, like falling asleep. Like sometimes I don't choose to fall asleep; I just fall asleep. It's really fun. Sometimes there's behavior based on drives. It's not always clear what this means, but sometimes, like one example is, say I had a really great burrito yesterday and I got a tremendous stomachache. I know it's not because of the burrito. It's for some other reason. I still love that burrito, but I just can't eat it because it has these associations with yesterday. That kind of drive-like things, that kind of stuff. It's not really about choices. It's more about like, I just can't do this. Right? Sometimes, like, if you've ever done rock climbing, like you're at the top, you kind of, I want to reach the next thing, but I just can't. Have you ever done that kind of thing? I just can't do that. So that kind of behavior is not what we're. It's interesting and it's very relevant often, but we're kind of leaving that behind. That's what we're assuming. Okay. So also rule-based behavior. Say that my rule is never pay more than $200 worth of ticket. Often it makes sense to rely on rules, but rule-based behavior is not something we're going to consider. Any questions about that? Yeah.
So in this case, drive seems like a negative.
Well, okay, right. So you could think of this drive as like a negative cost kind of thing. But what the person who gave this to me an example, we had this discussion about, this game theory of really right. The guy said, well, for all examples I can think of behavior which I did, which is not having to do choices. So example, in this case, he said, I really would love to choose that, eat that burrito, but I just can't. Like, it's just kind of overwhelming. So I guess another way to say this is, some of these things you can factor in as part of the model. Like we said before, it's like, say my cost of going to the revolt. I'm thinking actually about the cost of everyone else and like, descendants and all that, and customer friendly. So sometimes you can put that in, but sometimes it seems to be, they actually say that's actually really a different thing going on. Okay. Right, so note that there is some arbitrariness providing payoffs. So people already asked us, so where do these numbers come from? Isn't that kind of arbitrary? Are you just making this stuff up? And the answer is yes, we are making that up. Okay? There is some arbitrariness. So for example, my apple, blueberry, and cherry example, originally I had 5, 8, and 2. But if my numbers were 4, 12, and minus 3, is that different or wrong? Well, no, it's actually the same. Right? It's exactly the same thing. Okay? It's like with the white numbers, will I pay up 5, 8, and 2? Blueberries first, apple is second, and cherries third. With the yellow numbers, blueberries first, apple is second, cherries third. Right? It's the same thing. Yeah. It's like saying like, if I play a video game and then everyone puts a 0 at the end of their score, does it change anything? No, right? It just scales, right? All that really matters is the order. There is some arbitrariness in that. Okay, only the order. Any questions? Okay, so this is my first big question. What does rationality mean? So obviously you go through life, you're social scientists. You see people do kind of things which don't seem to make sense to you. Okay? And some people will say things like, if you don't, you check your air pressure in the tires, you're being irrational because it's great, it's not very costly to do that, and risking your life, blah, blah, blah. Some people say, if I buy a lottery ticket, it's irrational because such a small chance of getting this large prize. Not getting health insurance, that's irrational. Smoking, maybe that's irrational. But then you think, well, maybe these people have different preferences. It's hard to say what's rational or irrational without kind of being a little bit judgmental about people's preferences. So maybe it's, our job as social scientists is not to judge people's preferences. Our job is to explain their behavior. How do I say what's rational or irrational without being judgmental? Hard to answer this question without being judgmental about what people should do. For example, say somebody wants to be a human dart thrower. Okay? Is that irrational? Yes. If that person really just likes, free acupuncture of the face. I don't know, maybe they just like it, whatever. Okay? I'm not going to say what they should or shouldn't do. However, there is a way we answer the question of what does rationality mean. Okay? And it's not the greatest one, but it is the answer. The answer, according to game theory, is that rationality means behavior which is consistent with our model. I think that is, what rationality means is things like when my doctor tells me I can have at most one kid, I go from 0 to 1. That would be called irrational, because it cannot be described by a model. So that's not a statement about their preferences, but rather it's a statement of consistency between one scenario and another. Makes sense? Yeah.
But can't you not really, can't you continue being consistent with the simple model, because can't it change and evolve depending on things that
Right.
happen?
Right,
And
sure.
it's not, doesn't count as a violation,
Right.
but it's still rational?
Exactly. So all the cases what I call as violations, all those you can make compatible with a simple model by saying people's payouts actually change. Right? So if you do that, though, so yes, that is true. The only problem with doing that is if you commit to that as a stance, then basically you kind of you lose your ability to predict things. So in other words, anytime anybody does something, you say, so say that your friend says, okay, I really want to take class A over, I really want to take chemistry and not sociology. Okay, and then the next day you come and say, your roommate says, I really want to take sociology and not chemistry. Then you ask them, well, what caused the change? They said, well, because the teacher's really good, or this or why he's popular. So they give you lots of reasons. Okay? And those payouts actually change for the same reasons. Okay? But then what if they say, so yesterday I liked chemistry better than sociology, today I like sociology and chemistry. And you ask them, what changed? And they say, well, nothing changed. So then to explain their behavior, you'll have to say, okay, their payouts changed, but I don't understand why they changed. You see what I'm saying? So then at that point you might be able to say, actually, it's not that they really are true. They didn't change. Their payouts didn't change. But what changed is, in other words, my model somehow didn't capture what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? So if you really believe that people's payouts are changing all the time, which of course they do, but it can be a little solipsistic if you say that all the time. See what I'm saying? So people's payouts do change, but I can't rely on that to make things work, because then if I rely on it, then it's basically everything is explainable in some sense. Yeah.
So in order to determine rationality, we have to assume that chaos will not change.
Okay, you're right. If we assume the behaviors are changing, then under this definition, I could never show anything irrational, right? Because at any given time, something is a choice. I say, oh, okay, your payouts must have changed to make that. Yes. Okay. But what I'm thinking about is a situation where literally, like someone says, I like A better than B, and the second day says, yeah, I like B better than A. Or like they'll literally just do random stuff. Okay? And you could say that they're irrational by assuming, this might not be correct assumption, but if you assume that they're the same, they're being irrational because their choices are not consistent with a pattern of preferences which are stable. You know what I'm saying? So maybe something else is going on with them. But at least you can say that you're making the determination of whether they're rational or not without making an assumption of what the preferences should be. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, another way to say this is that if you stick with this definition, then any change in preferences, any change in behavior must be understood as a change in preferences. Okay? That makes sense? So if you think that there are situations, you have other evidence which indicates that people's preferences are not changing, then you could use this definition to say something irrational. Okay. Any other questions? Good question. Anyway, the gist of it is basically, we don't want to really be super judgmental about what's rational or not. I guess is another way to say it. So, for example, so this class is not about like making good life choices or something like that. That's another way to say it. This class is not about saying you should really get life insurance. You know? Or you should really stop smoking or something, right? This class is about understanding people's behavior. Okay? And we can still say people are rational without making assumptions about what people should do. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is my simplest model of individual choice. What's the first step? One person. Already simplification. Second step was alternatives. The third step was chaos, right? Okay. And the prediction was choose one with the highest step. All right. So game theory. Oh, by the way, I will release the slides on Thursday. So we'll give the homework out on Thursday, and I'll give you the slides and also the videos. Okay. If you're a game theorist, you look at the world, remember, in terms of individuals making choices. Okay, so how do I apply a simple model? If you're a game theorist, the first thing you do is focus on who's an individual making a choice. Second step is, we said this, alternatives. Third step is payoffs. You have to write down your payoffs, assign them. Again, if you're the model or you're the explainer, you might get this wrong, but you just do the best you can. Okay, so I think this person is payoffs. Once you make that description, then you can make it. So this is how you explain people's behavior if you're game theorists. Let's look at this example. This is a movie clip. Excuse me. Thing. Oh, come on. Okay.
So what's up with Ray? Here's like a serial killer or something?
Well, yeah, actually, we have a theory on that called pseudo justice. It's just a theory. Can I lay out for you?
Yeah.
He's the low outline guy.
Therefore, every truly free act is, in a sense, a crime, for crime sets one apart from the herd and from the machinery of mass society. It cannot be a crime of profit or passion, it must be a gratuitous, random crime. Crime's philosophy is freedom. Think of that. Do you read it?
Oh, it's a school paper. You have to write something.
If you kill somebody to prove you're free and then throw up your down because you're upset about what you did, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
Richard didn't throw up his dinner because he didn't feel guilty. He's free, Justin. You're not. Relax. Let them learn what we're up to. Let me tell you something. And it's going to be the most important thing you ever hear. More important than all the instructions on the SATs and APs. The person who actually killed Olivia Lake is going to be executed, or at best go to jail for the rest of his life, and in your case that would be about 60 years. But the other one who didn't actually kill her, if he cooperates, will have a chance in a real life.
What the hell?
You guys not know.
Really? I figured you'd be the one.
No, let's talk about Goldilocks for a minute.
Lisa.
Yeah, you see that she went out for you?
Yeah, briefly. She felt taken advantage of and she had interest in Justin.
Let's use that.
It's an interesting theory. I can't admit to something I didn't do.
Well, looks like you won't have to. Justin's talking in there.
Justin's here.
Mm-hmm. See, he told us about you. About you and Lisa.
Which Lisa?
So you really need to tell me what happened. Just think of it as a game. Whoever talks first is the winner. But Justin's saying you betrayed her. He told us about Lisa and the tape you made. Justin's talking. He's gonna win this thing, Richard. Unless you have something to tell me. Okay, I'm gonna go see him.
Wait. Yeah.
Okay. That was Ryan Gosling, yeah? Yeah. Okay. What's going on there? This is Murder by Numbers. It's not the greatest movie. It's okay. Okay. All right. How am I going to model this situation? What's the first step? Yeah.
The first question was, isn't that the prisoners that?
It is exactly the person's stuff. So, yeah.
That if they do not confess, they will have a small cost.
Right.
One of them confesses when there's none, and the other has a very big cost.
Right.
Both confess they both lose. So
Right.
that would be two people depending on.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a well-known thing called the business dilemma. Okay, we'll talk through it. Let's use a simple model of individual choice. If I use a simple model, what's the first step? Look at one person. Who's the person? There's Richard and Justin. Richard is Ryan Gosling. Justin is the other guy. So let's focus on Richard. You want to focus on Richard? Okay, what about Emma Stone? You don't know. Richard, okay. What are Richard's choices? Talk or not talk, yeah? So an individual Richard, his choice is either talk or not talk. What's the third step of my simple model? Chaos. What's the chaos from talking? Well, that's fine, yeah. What about the pair from not talking? Huh? The other person can talk, right? But how do I fill out these numbers?
It depends on the domain.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, oh, I can't really fill them out because it depends a lot on what the other person does, yeah? If I don't talk and the other person talks, that's really bad for me, yeah? But if we both don't talk, it's just okay. Yeah? All right. Okay. We can fill in these chaos. Why? Yeah, exactly. The chaos depends on somebody else. Yeah? It's not just up to me. It's not like apple, blueberry, and cherry. Okay? But chaos actually depend on another person, what another person chooses to do. Richard's chaos depend on what Justin does. Right. So, can I use my simple model of individual choice? No, it's simply not adequate for this example. So we have a model that'll work for like a focus, but even for the simple example, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because your chaos can be affected by what another person does. All right, so what would be appropriate? What would be adequate? What kind of model would be adequate? Well, we have to consider, right from the very start, the first assumption is kind of wrong, right? We can't just look at Richard alone, yes? We have to look at Richard and Justin, right? We have to think of them two together. What would be the second step now? So to consider these two individuals, what's the second step? Sort of analogous to our previous one. Huh? Yeah, we have to think about, each person has a choice, yeah? Either talk or not, right? Okay. What are Richard's choices? Talk or not? And I made Richard red to be clear. What about Justin's choices? Also talk. All right. What about the third step? Okay. Well, we just said we can't assign chaos from talk or not, because Richard's chaos depends on what Justin does. Richard's chaos depends on what Justin does. Okay. How do we write down Richard's chaos then? Okay, does Richard's chaos depend only on whether he talks or not? But it also depends on what? Justin's chaos. So how many things do you have to fill out, kind of? 4, right? Why? Because,
There's 4 different scenarios.
yeah, exactly.
Combinations.
Exactly. There's 4 possible scenarios, right? Okay, what are the possible outcomes? I'm going to round down this way. There are 4 possible outcomes. Okay, the first one is what? They both talk. Second one is what? Richard talks and Justin doesn't. The third one, like I said before, is Richard doesn't and Justin talks. And the final one is when they both go. Make sense? There are 4 possible things which could happen. They all could happen, right? Okay. So instead of putting payoff numbers on 2 things, I'm going to now put them on 4 things. Okay? You're going to write down payoff numbers for Richard. Let's think about this. Okay. So, what about this case where they both don't talk? What payoff do we put in there? 0? It's actually not too bad, right? If they both don't talk. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to put a 5 there. Okay. And that, so 5 is in red because it stands for Richard. Richard is everything. So I think it's not too bad. Okay, what about this one here? Richard doesn't and then Justin talks. Is it higher than 5? That's bad, right? This is like the worst thing, right? The worst thing is if you don't talk, another person talks, because then they can totally pin you on the whole thing. They will sell you out. Okay. So what do you think we should put there? I'll make it a -10. Yeah? Okay. Does that make sense? This is worse. Okay, how about this? What if Richard talks and Justin doesn't? That's good, right? That's like the best thing. Let me get a 10. I think yeah. That means you kind of become state's evidence, you're protected, you can blame the other person. Okay. And finally, what if they both talk? 0? Okay, it's definitely not as good as the 10, not as bad as the minus 10, right? Question is it worse than the 5? Yeah. It's better if you both be quiet than if you both talk, right? Because if you both talk, you're going to basically incriminate each other. And you might even make a tricky story. Or so this is not the worst thing, but it's definitely not as good as the 5. So I think I'll make that a 0. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So this isn't taking into account like loyalties and stuff?
Well, okay, so again.
It's just like punishment?
Yeah. So if, for example, if Richard really cared a lot about Justin, and then these might be different, right? Then, for example, way of written it is like if Richard talks and Justin doesn't, that's like the best thing for Richard. But if Richard is super loyal to Justin, then this actually might be the worst thing for Richard, right? Richard would say the last thing I'm going to do is rat out my friends. There's a bunch of assumptions going on. Anyway, does this make sense? All right. How about Justin? What are the payoff numbers for Justin? Okay. Similarly, for what happens if they both don't talk? What should Justin's payoff be there? 5. What's the worst thing for Justin? Yeah, it's this one here, right? What Richard talks and Justin doesn't, right? And we should put that minus 10 in there. Okay, what's the best thing for Justin? He talks and Richard doesn't. That's this. It's 10. And then finally, if they both talk, that's like this. Makes sense? Okay, so good. Yeah.
Are we assuming that if like Richard talks and Justin doesn't, that Richard's not confessing?
Yeah, well, the idea is that Richard would blame Justin.
Right, so okay.
We are saying that, yeah. Exactly. Remember, you said like, it's like a game. Whoever talks first, think about winning. That's kind of the thing. I guess the idea is that you cooperate earlier than what you should have done. All right. So this situation is called the prisoner's dilemma. It was called that name was given by a bunch of Rand researchers, like the Rand Corporation down in Santa Monica, like 3 miles away from here. Okay, it's kind of famous. Anyway, this is now we're done. This is so long. We have 2 people. Each person has 2 possible alternatives. There's 4 outcomes, and we have to put payoffs in each outcome. Okay. So I just wrote down the model, the payoffs using a list, but it's convenient to use a table. Okay? So I'm going to put Richard's chooses between talk or not as a row, and Justin chooses to talk or not using on a column. So instead of writing down the 4 outcomes in the list, I'm going to write them down as a table. So there's 4 outcomes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This corresponds to both talking. This corresponds to they don't talk. This is where Richard talks and Justin doesn't. So let's write down payoff numbers for Richard. Again, what was the if they both don't talk? That was with 5, right? And that's where the 5 goes, right? That's where they both don't talk. The worst thing for Richard is if what? Richard doesn't and Justin talks. That corresponds to this thing. That's the minus 10, so I'm going to put a minus 10 there. The best thing for Richard is when Richard talks and Justin doesn't. So that's this little space here. That payoff was what? 10, so I'm going to put a 10 in there. If they both talk, the payoff was, I think, 0, right? So I'm going to put 0. So I'm just going to write it as a table. Okay? So the table makes it easy to write down the 4 different outcomes. What about Justin's payoffs? Justin's in blue. What is Justin's payoff here if they both don't talk? 5, right? What's the worst thing for Justin? If Richard talks and Justin doesn't, it's this. That was the minus 10. Best thing for Justin is if Richard doesn't and Justin talks. That's the 10. And finally, this thing here, what is justice payoff there? Okay. I'm gonna put in some comments so I don't get those numbers confused. So this is a very common way of writing down a game. Tables are convenient. So we're going to spend the next few weeks doing these tables. Let's see. Oh, I have 2 minutes. I have 1:44. What did we just do and why? We'll do this in 1 minute slide. In this murder by numbers example, in the Ryan Gosling Sandra Bullock example, why did we have to abandon our first simple model? Because we have 2 people, right? It wasn't adequate because each person's payoff to the other person. Okay? So we changed the model. Our new model is called a future form game. That's what we're doing. So next time we'll do examples. Okay. Thank you.